Hi, I'm Emery, and this is my story. But before I continue, please like and subscribe. When I was a kid, my parents always fought a lot. Mom got so fed up that she yanked me out of bed one night and snuck me out the door. Mom, I'm sleepy. I want to go to bed.
Shh, quiet.
The next thing you know, we'd moved to a tiny apartment in a strange town, and I hated it. I screamed and cried for Mom to take us back home. Take me back! This is whack! I tried reaching out to my dad, but he was always too busy. That made me sad. But Mom found ways to cheer me up. Eventually, I got used to our new place, and hanging out with Mom was pretty cool. After a while, Mom met someone new. Soon they were married, and we moved into a new house. My stepdad was nice, but his daughter was a witch.
Hey Naomi, welcome your new mom and stepsister.
Welcome them! You, Dad, they're poor! Why are we keeping them here and feeding them? They're disgusting and gross!
Haha, she's just kidding. She's a little shy. She's a sweetheart once you get to know her.
Naomi was the worst. She threw ketchup in my face, turned the lights off when I was reading, tossed my clothes out the window, and stole all my toys. I tried to tell my mom what was going on.
Hey babe, we're guests here. Naomi is a bit spoiled, but we have to learn to accept her.
Thank God Naomi and I didn't go to the same school. Naomi went to an expensive school for brats, and I begged my mom and stepdad to let me stay at my old school. But a few years later, things took a turn. My stepdad's company lost a ton of money and he couldn't keep up with the bills.
Girls, money is tight, so we'll have to enroll both of you in public school.
Public school? No!
Naomi threw the biggest tantrum and refused to eat for a week, though I caught her sneaking cookies from the kitchen at night. On the first day of school, Naomi acted like a total spoiled brat.
Hey everyone! You may see this girl talking to me, but that doesn't mean we're related. She's just our maid.
No, she's our maid.
No, she's our maid.
No, she is our maid.
No, she's our maid.
Naomi and I fought all the time. We shouted at each other in the hallway, had a food fight in the cafeteria, and one time during science class, we started shoving each other and accidentally hurt the teacher who was trying to separate us. She ended up with a broken nose. The kids thought we were insane. Neither of us had any friends. I mean, I couldn't blame them. Naomi was a crazy witch and I'm cool, but shy and weird and insecure and invisible. So yeah, after weeks of being outcasts, we grew a bit closer. Just a bit. Because we were lonely, and we only had each other. Then one day in first grade, our parents sat us down to give us some news.
We're gonna have a baby.
Oh really? That's cool!
A baby? Why would you go and do a stupid thing like that?
The baby came and my parents were so happy.
A beautiful little boy.
Isn't he precious? Let's call him Sam.
I fell in love with Sam immediately, even though he was annoying. He cried a lot and peed all over the place. Naomi avoided Sam like the plague. She'd lock herself in her room and only came out to eat.
Look at his stupid, dirty face. Oh my God. Why is he throwing food everywhere?
I played with Sam every day.
You're so good with him. Honey, could you watch Sam while Dad and I run some errands?
Sure, no problem. As time went on, Mom and Dad started leaving him with me all the time. Eventually, I was Sam's permanent babysitter. When Sam turned 2, he turned into a maniac. He drew on the walls with crayons, smashed an expensive vase, and poured milk in my dad's office drawer. And they blamed me every time.
That vase cost a fortune. I'm taking it out of your allowance.
But it's not my fault.
I told you so.
Told me what?
That the brat was a bad idea. It's only gonna get worse.
And Naomi was right. One day, I had a huge chemistry test and told my parents way in advance that I needed to study. But they still shoved Sam in my face and just left. I'd had enough. I dropped Sam off in Naomi's room and headed out the door.
Where do you think you're going?
I'm done with this family. I'm out of here.
You can't just leave me with this thing.
Watch me. Look, Sammy, she has cookies. Sam grabbed Naomi and I walked out the door.
Ah, no, get away. Leave me alone. Help.
I hopped on the bus and went straight to my dad's. He was out of town when I got there, so his maid let me in. For the first time in a long time, I had peace and quiet. My mom and stepdad freaked out when they found out I'd left, but I refused to come back. In school the next day, Naomi ran up to me looking crazy.
I can't take it. Please come back home.
I thought you hated me?
I do, but Sam's a demon. He tore up all my clothes and flushed my makeup down the toilet.
Sounds like you're getting a taste of your own medicine. I turned to walk away, but then Naomi started bawling like a big baby.
Please, I'll do anything. Just come back home.
Okay, maybe I'll come back, but on one condition. You have to do what I say when I ask.
No way. I'm not your maid.
You won't be my maid, you'll be my assistant.
That's even worse.
Take it or leave it. Naomi reluctantly agreed. But even if she hadn't, I'd have moved back anyway because I missed my little Sam. The thought of him being ignored by my shallow parents and selfish Naomi made me sick to my stomach. I moved back in, and whenever our parents left us with Sam, I'd set up a schedule, so Naomi and I shared the responsibilities. Things were great for a while, but they took a turn. When Sam turned 10, he stole my mom's diamond ring and gave it to his classmate to impress her.
A pretty ring for a pretty girl?
Are you crazy? I can't take this.
Sam got so mad he punched the girl in the face. Then he sold mom's ring to his friend.
I'll give it to you for $50.
40!
Deal!
One day, Sam's teacher called my parents in for a meeting. Of course, they were too busy to go and sent me and Naomi instead.
We came because our parents have leukemia. Oh my god.
No, she means anemia.
No, I think I meant amnesia. They're getting old and crazy.
They're just sick, and we came instead of them. Can you tell us what the problem is?
Sam gave one of his classmates a black eye. He broke a window, and he's been terrorizing the other students.
When we got home, I went straight to Sam's room. We need to talk about what's going on with you in school.
I'm busy!
If you keep this up, you might get expelled.
Get out!
Sam slammed the door in my face. He was very stubborn, but I wanted to help him. When my mom and stepdad came back that night, Naomi and I told them everything.
It's those mean kids, they hate me. And they're always making fun of me because I don't have nice things.
Oh, darling, we're so sorry.
We'll buy you new clothes.
Then Mom took Sam on a shopping spree. I couldn't believe they fell for his act. Later that night, my parents went out of town for a business dinner, and Naomi and I were watching Avatar World videos in my room when Sam appeared out of nowhere.
Hey, stupid witches, you're gonna pay for telling on me.
Get out of the way, psycho. We're trying to watch TV.
Sam pulled out a huge jar of crickets from behind his back and smashed it onto the floor. The crickets landed in our hair and all over our clothes.
Ha ha ha! Get them, my pretties!
A couple of months later, Mom and Stepdad called us into the living room to tell us we were moving into a brand new fancy house.
So wait, we're rich again?
Yes, we have twice as much money as we had before.
Thank God. I hated being poor.
Now I can go to a fancy college.
Only the best for my daughter.
A month later, Naomi left for college in another city. I could have gone away too, but I was too worried about Sam. So I got enrolled in a college close to home. But soon after, my stepdad enrolled Sam in an expensive private school, and he started hanging out with these spoiled rich kids. I had to make sure that he didn't get into some big trouble. In my sophomore year, I was reading in the park one day when suddenly I spotted a big dog running at crazy speed with a guy my age trying to grab his leash. His name was Alex, and he was a senior in my university. I gave him my hoodie, and we ended up talking for a while. I hadn't even realized 2 hours had gone by. Oh shoot, I gotta go. I gotta check in on my little brother.
So how? How do I get your hoodie back to you? Maybe I could take you out for dinner tomorrow?
Oh, I'm sorry, but with the university and some things at home, I really don't have time to date.
Gotcha. Well, here's my number. Just let me know where I can drop it then.
He started walking away, and so did I. But a part of me felt like I was doing the wrong thing. Hey, wait! How about a coffee tomorrow?
Sounds like a good place to start.
Alex and I started dating, and being with him just made me happy. For the first time, it felt like someone was noticing what I needed and was taking care of me. But things at home with Sam just kept getting worse. He was skipping classes and getting detention all the time. And then some creepy guys started coming around the house looking for Sam when my parents weren't home. When I asked him who they were, he just told me to mind my business. Then one night, Sam came home with a bruised face. Are you okay? What's going on?
I'm fine, sis. I can take care of myself.
Sam, I can't be your babysitter forever. I have a life of my own, and one day I'll just leave.
Then leave. My life, my choices. You can't change someone who doesn't want to change.
Then he just hugged me and cried. The next morning I tried to talk to him, but he was already gone. I'm worried about Sam. I think something's going on with him.
You worry too much, honey. Sam's fine.
Have you seen his face?
He said he got hurt during football practice.
Ugh, soon after I graduated, Alex proposed. And I was over the moon! I'd have to move out, but I would only be 10 minutes away from Sam. Not that he seemed to care much either way. And on my wedding day, Sam was nowhere to be found. I kept calling him, but I couldn't get through, and we couldn't postpone the ceremony any longer. I felt so upset that he had missed this. But 2 hours later, I finally got a panicked call from Sam asking me to pick him up from some bad neighborhood. You're not a baby anymore. You just ruined one of the most important days of my life. I've always been there for you, and you couldn't even be there for me, even today. I started to give up hope of fixing him. I was fighting a battle alone, a battle that wasn't mine, and my parents just made things worse. Sam failed high school, but my stepdad paid the school board to give him passing grades. It made me so mad, but I had no say in the matter. Then one day, the company I worked for gave me an amazing job promotion if I moved to California. It was a great opportunity, but I felt unsure. Alex supported me either way, but I tossed and turned all night, thinking about what to do, and finally called Naomi.
You've got one life, Emery. You can either live it for Sam or live it for yourself.
Sam had started interning at his dad's firm, but I observed him for some weeks and saw that he still had the same kind of friends and was still blowing money and partying the same way. And I finally made my decision.
What? You're going to California? That's across the country. I need you here, Emery.
No, not really. You only need me around to clean up your messes. But I'm done doing that. Sam, you were right. You can't change someone who doesn't want to change.
Emery, please. You're all I have.
You've got Mom and Dad, and they'll take care of you in their own way. You're their kid. I just can't be your parent anymore.
But you're my big sister.
And I'll always be there for you as that. So when you decide to fix your ways, come and see me, okay? I love you, Sam, but I'm leaving. It's time.
Hi, I'm Wendy from Sweden, and my story is really crazy. But before I begin, please like and subscribe. I lived in a creepy old house with my parents. It used to belong to my grandma, who was a very odd woman. She studied mysterious races in the world and brought back crates full of strange outfits and creepy items. And most people around thought our house was haunted.
Walk faster, a ghost girl will catch you.
Just then, I leapt out from behind a bush wearing a scary mask. I was just trying to be funny, but people thought I was the weird girl who lived in the scary house, and no one wanted to be my friend. And my parents never had much time for me either because they were always working.
This old house is a money pit. I need to work 2 jobs to keep it.
Please go to your room, Wendy. I'm in a meeting.
I wanted to help out, so I started giving ghost tours of the property. When my parents were away, I loved telling made-up stories about the freaky things I'd seen around the house. I even made up a murder or 2 and sold Mum's dresses with ketchup stains as souvenirs. I made a killing on Halloween, but when Mom and Dad found out, they were furious.
What's wrong with you, Wendy? Why can't you be sweet and well-behaved like other kids?
They took all my money and I was grounded for a month. I was so lonely and wished I had a sibling to play with. Then one day, when I was 12, I got the biggest surprise of my life. I went looking for a snack in the kitchen when I found a thin, pale boy my age instead.
Who are you and what are you doing in our pantry?
I'm Felix, your brother. Didn't your parents tell you they were adopting me?
What the flip? My parents had adopted a whole human and hadn't even bothered to tell me.
Typical!
I don't believe you. What proof do you have?
He waved some official-looking papers in my face. They looked legit.
My parents might have adopted you, but you still need to pass a few tests if you want to be my brother.
Bring it on!
We stood on our heads to see who could do it the longest, ate the worst carrot for lunch. And for the final task, we caught the fattest, slimiest fish and balanced them on our heads while we stood on one leg on the fence. Felix was great at it all.
Congratulations! You are officially my brother!
I was over the moon to finally have someone to play with, but my parents had to ruin that too.
You can't play with Felix anymore.
Why not? Didn't you adopt him so I'd have company?
We've decided it isn't a good idea. You can't play with him, and that's that. But why?
Because we said so and we're sending him away.
It was so unfair.
I felt angrier than I'd ever felt before, and I smashed the toy I was playing with into the wall. But suddenly I felt dizzy, and moments later, I blacked out. When I opened my eyes, I was in a hospital bed with a bald doctor and my worried-looking parents next to me.
Wendy's blood pressure shot up suddenly and she fainted. She's fine for now, but try to keep her as calm as possible. I'd also suggest you homeschool her for now.
Mom and Dad took me home. They were being very nice to me, which was suspicious. Now they said I could play with Felix as much as I wanted, but when I ran to his room to tell him the good news, he was glaring at me angrily.
What's wrong? Aren't you happy we can be friends again?
Friends? I just found out that your parents did not adopt me because they wanted to love me or give me a nice home. They just brought me here for you, like I'm some kind of toy. And they might just send me away at any time. I hate you, and I'm gonna make your parents hate you too. They'll realize they're better off having me as a kid. Trust me, I'm not going anywhere.
Felix, don't be like that. I've always wanted a brother.
I'm not your brother.
I was both angry and heartbroken by his changed attitude. But I hoped he'd change over time, but it was the complete opposite. Felix kept messing with my parents. He dropped the pearl earrings I borrowed from Mum down the drain, smashed Dad's laptop, and put dye in their body wash. They had shocking pink skin for weeks. And somehow my parents were always upset with me and thought I was acting out. They never seemed convinced when I said it was all Felix. Was he really turning my parents against me?
Stop being a jerk. These things cost money, and Mom and Dad work really hard. And stop making them think I'm doing all this.
Then just give up and go away yourself. There's only space for one of us here.
I'm not going anywhere, pal.
But then, the most terrible thing happened. A few days after my 13th birthday, we were visited by some people from the museum. They wanted to use Grandma's outfits and creepy items for a display, and they said they'd pay us a lot of money if we allowed them to borrow it for a few weeks. Mom and Dad were over the moon that the dirty junk around the house was worth something.
We can buy a new car and replace the laptop Wendy trashed.
We can pay off the mortgage and finally be debt-free.
This could change our lives for the better. But minutes before the people from the museum arrived to collect the things, I heard a huge crash from the basement. I went running to see all the things smashed and broken on the floor, and Felix standing in the middle with a stick!
Oops! I'm so sorry, I was just looking at them.
This time he had gone too far. I slapped him hard!
You did that on purpose, you jerk!
Just then, my parents came running in and looked at the mess in horror, and then they looked at me like I was the crazy one.
Why are you looking at me like I did this? He's ruined everything, and you're still gonna have him around. Why don't you send him away?
You want us to send your brother away? You got so upset before.
I was wrong about him, okay? He's not my brother. He's crazy, and he's dangerous.
Mom and Dad exchanged a weird long glance and nodded.
Fine. We'll send him to a special facility so he can get better.
That night, I locked my door, but I could still hear Felix screaming and crying in his room. The next day, he was gone. Mum and Dad looked sad and broken. They tried to be nice to me, but I saw right through them. They were sad because Felix had left, and I could never make them happy. In the fall, the doctor said it would be good for me to restart regular high school. Things were going really well on my first day until...
Hey, watch out! It's a ghost girl! I'm so scared!
Dude, grow up!
That wasn't all. In my very first class, I met the most bonkers girl.
I heard you were the ghost girl.
What's it to you?
I'm Tara. I just moved here from Ireland. Is it true your house is haunted? I'd love to meet a real-life ghost. I've dreamed of it my whole life.
Are you nuts? Who has creepy dreams like that?
You haven't read Dead Love Doesn't Die. It's the most romantic book ever. Are there handsome ghosts in your house? Are they single?
Girl, you need help!
No! I need a ghostly boyfriend with ice-cold lips and dreamy eyes who can transport me to his time and give me 1,000,000 ghostly kisses. And he'll
Was
take
there
me
something
away
wrong
to-
with me? First Felix and now Tara? Was I a weirdo magnet? For the next few weeks, she stuck to me like glue. At first, I acted indifferent because I wasn't sure she'd even stick around for too long. But she did. And I slowly started to enjoy having a friend.
Ha! Look, there's Ghost Girl and her vampire girlfriend. What, in the twilight?
Tara hissed and bit the jerk on his arm.
You're absolutely crazy.
Hey, no one messes with my friend. Yuck! He tasted disgusting. Let's go get candy.
How about I make you a sandwich at my place?
You mean it?
Tara instantly fell in love with the place.
This place is fantastic. Can you imagine the paranormal romances that could take place here?
I just laughed and went to the kitchen to get the sandwiches. But there was already someone in there.
Felix, what are you doing here?
I'm back. Of course, Mom and Dad didn't tell you. You would have forced them to keep me away.
It would be for their own good after the mess you made last time. What kind of facility allows home visits?
Ha! I'm not at a facility. They sent me on vacation to Bali to prove how much they loved me and wanted me in the family. I'm back now, and I'll make sure you end up in the facility soon.
I couldn't believe this was happening. I made some excuse and sent Tara home before Felix did something to her. When my parents got home, I confronted them.
You lied to me. He's dangerous and out to get me, but you still allowed him in our home.
Mom started to cry, and Dad glared at me.
You're upsetting your mother, Wendy. How long will this go on?
You don't even care that I'm upset too? You guys are the most selfish parents ever. I'm going to stay at my friend's house because I don't feel safe here.
You can't leave. We should call the doctor. I told you we shouldn't have sent her back to school.
Dad locked me in my room. I could hear Felix laughing under my door. He was evil. I had to get out of here. I called Tara and told her what was up. Within minutes, she was outside my window.
Come on, Ghost Girl. Let's get you to safety.
Tara's house was so normal. It was awesome. She pulled out a mattress for me to sleep in her room, then brushed my hair to calm me down as I told her everything.
Wow, your parents sound like a piece of work. And I finally get why you're so weird about being friends.
I can't trust anyone. My parents ignored me for so long and thought things would be different for me once Felix came. But he's the worst, and ever since he came, my parents treat me like I'm some lunatic. When he's the crazy one, he really scares me.
Don't worry, you're safe here. I'll punch his lights out if he tries to mess with you.
Suddenly I heard a loud tap on the window and he was standing outside. I screamed and jumped up.
It's him! Felix is here!
He was holding rocks in his hand and wore the evilest grin.
Where? I don't see anything.
Felix threw the first rock. It slammed against the window hard, leaving a deep crack.
Are you blind? He's right there!
Wendy, are you sure you don't, see ghosts or something? Because I can't see anyone.
Didn't you hear the rock hit the window? Look, it's left a crack!
What are you talking about?
What?
Why was Tara suddenly lying to me? Suddenly the door slammed open and my parents were standing there looking worried.
How did you find me? Did you tell them I was here? Tara, I thought you were my friend.
No, Wendy. Tara didn't tell us. We saw you sneaking out of the house and followed you. Let's go home.
No, you're just going to lock me up in my room again. What's going on? Tara says she can't see Felix. Is she lying or am I crazy?
The saddest look crossed my mom's face, and she broke down crying and hugged me.
No, Wendy, you're not crazy.
That's when they told me how they'd never adopted a boy named Felix.
We thought he was just a harmless, imaginary friend. But when you started seeing him all the time, we tried to stop it by saying we'd send him away.
The doctor said you had created Felix to help with your feelings of being alone, and we should play along, so we agreed. But then you started acting out and blaming it on Felix.
We were so glad when you finally sent him away yourself. We thought things were going to be okay now. But then you said you saw him again, and we
just can't see you like this, sweetie, and it's all our fault. We should have given you more time when you were a kid.
I was in utter shock.
So everything Felix did, the earrings, the laptop, the items.
It was all you, but we weren't mad about any of it. We were just worried about you.
But if Felix was the friend I made up, why was he suddenly so mean to me?
Your doctor said you suffered from low self-esteem. In your mind, no one wants to be friends with you for long.
Are you real? Can you guys see Tara?
I could pinch you!
Ouch. Okay, you're real.
Don't worry, dear. We talked to your doctor, and he says we can start therapy sessions now. You'll be fine.
and we'll be with you all the way.
Me too!
They all took me in a big bear hug, and suddenly I didn't feel alone at all. Hi, I'm Adele, and I live with my parents in France. Please like and subscribe. My dad named me Adele, which means beautiful like a star. He never loved anyone in the world as much as he loved me. And I guess this is why my own mom never liked me very much. Once in 2nd grade, my geography teacher, Ms. Diana, started screaming at a poor girl, and I just hated that she was such a bully. When she was done, she turned to us and said,
"Okay, class, so now I think I should
jump off a bridge." And the whole class laughed.
Adele, what is this behavior? I'll send you to the principal.
And I'll send you to Antarctica. My dad is a travel agent.
How dare you threaten me? You should never threaten people like that.
Sorry, Diana. I thought it was funny.
You should never call your teachers by their first name. This isn't funny.
And the complaint letter was sent to my parents. Mom was furious. But Dad couldn't stop laughing at the statements I'd made in class.
Adele, I know you were defending a girl, but we should always respect our teachers. Darling.
You shout at me if I spill coffee by mistake, but anything Adele does is fine by you. You'd forgive her if she ever killed someone.
Oh God, honey, do you always have to be so melodramatic? How can you compare yourself to a kid and she's really funny?
Mom just stormed off angrily. And since that day, I started noticing she'd always talk to me rudely. A few weeks later, it was Dad's birthday, and I went down that evening in a beautiful new dress. The minute Dad got home, I ran towards him. Dad, my new dress! Am I pretty? And then, Mom pushed me aside and showed Dad the watch she'd bought for him. But Dad ignored her completely and picked me up instead.
My princess, no one can look more beautiful than you. Look what I've brought for you.
Chocolate! Barbies! Wow, Mom! See the gifts Dad got for me! But Mom angrily turned away and left. Why was she always like this? I forgot all about her as soon as Dad and I started to play. And we played a lot! The next morning at breakfast, Mom came downstairs rocking a dress that was so slay. And she walked in front of Dad.
How do I look, darling? Come, let's dance in this romantic weather.
Dad spat out his coffee and burst out laughing.
That was a really good joke, but could you go do something more usual now? It's freezing and you'll get sick and cause trouble for everyone.
He just went back to reading his newspaper. And I saw Mom's face turn red. I felt a bit sorry for her, but why was she acting so silly? She was obviously furious at Dad, but she took it out on me by not giving me dessert that day. And this time, I was angry at her. Give me dessert now!
Nope, don't feel like it. Go ask your dad.
I went to the kitchen and climbed onto a stool to reach the cookie jar on the top of the fridge. But I accidentally knocked it down and broke it with a loud crash. Mom came rushing in and started shouting at me.
You're such a brat. Look at this mess you made. You're going to clean it up.
But I just ran out of there and headed straight to the phone. Hello, Dad? Mom is saying that she hates me and I look like an ugly panda. Dad called Mom back and yelled at her, and I did a happy dance. Years passed, and I grew up to be a beautiful girl. Every time Dad or anyone praised my beauty, Mom looked jealous. By now, it was clear she completely resented me. By the time I reached 11th grade, I discovered my love for acting, and I'd taken part in all of the school plays. But there was a mean girl in my class who was always competing with me for the lead roles. Ashley, I'd usually beat her to them, and she wasn't very fond of me. One day in the cafeteria, I saw Ashley bullying this shy kid named Olivier. She walked up to him with her boyfriend and took off his thick glasses, snapping them in half.
Oh, look at him crying like a kid. Mommy, save me from Ashley.
Olivier's eyesight was so weak that he couldn't see anything. As he tried to get away, Ashley stuck out her leg and he tripped. He would have landed on his face, but I caught him just in time. Then I picked up a chair and shouted at Ashley, "You touch him again, and I'll hit your head so hard, your tiny little brain will come out."
How dare you threaten me, witch!
And suddenly, she jumped on me, and we broke out into a huge fight. Some teachers came running and pulled us apart, and their moms were called to the school immediately.
These girls were fighting like wild dogs. It's unacceptable behavior.
My daughter could never do this. She's the greatest child in the world.
Oh, yes. I'm sure it was Adele's fault. She's the worst child in the world. You poor baby. How badly hurt is she? Adele should definitely be punished.
This is the last warning to you girls.
Don't be weak. Why are you letting Adele off with a warning? You should suspend her. You can even throw her out of school.
Mom, the principal actually suspended me for 3 days, and I was furious. When we got home, Dad was already there, and she started complaining to him immediately.
See what your amazing daughter has done? She's suspended from school because she beat a girl so badly for no reason. She nearly sent her into a coma.
Shut up! Don't talk rubbish! Adele isn't crazy enough to hurt someone like that.
Yes, Dad. Mom is lying. And she told the principal to suspend me. Ashley jumped on me and I just pulled her hair. How could she go into a coma from that? Hearing this, Dad was furious at Mom, and they broke into the worst fight of their lives. Mom smashed half the plates in her house. She was crazy. A few days later, something was published in the news that left everyone really surprised in school. It was a picture of Olivier with his dad, who happened to be a world-famous movie director. Everyone knew Olivier's dad, but until now, no one had known Olivier was his son because he'd never mentioned it. And suddenly, everyone's attitude towards Olivier changed completely. He was surrounded by girls all the time. I also liked him, but I'd just see him from a distance. Even Ashley the witch apologized to him one day. He forgave her, and after that, the two would be hanging out together so often. A week later, it was Valentine's Day, and I came to know that Ashley had dumped her boyfriend. She walked over to Olivier in the cafeteria and said,
"This rose is for the most handsome boy in the world. Will you be my Valentine?"
No boy ever refused Ashley because she was so pretty. But to my shock, Olivier just took the rose from her and walked over to me.
I've been waiting to do this since the first time we've met. And what day is better than Valentine's? You're the prettiest, loveliest girl ever. Will you go out with me, Adele?
Yes, of course. Yes. Then he lifted me into his arms and twirled me around as everyone cheered for us. Ashley was so embarrassed and angry, she ran away from there crying. I started enjoying my relationship with Olivier. He'd pick me up from my place, and then we'd go to parks and malls. I could see Mom's jealous face whenever I'd come back with gifts. One day, she said,
"Is this what you go to school for? Focus on your studies."
"Don't I already get the highest grades?"
That boy, Olivier, isn't good for you.
How can you say that? You don't even know him.
His dad and I were in the same college, and he is a horrible, dishonest man.
Wow, you'll just make up anything, won't you? You know what, I think you're just jealous because you never got what I have. I started ignoring Mom completely after that. She couldn't stand to see me happy. And that was her problem, not mine. I graduated from high school, and Olivier and I decided to get engaged before we both headed off for college. We had a small engagement dinner with his parents and mine, but just as he was about to put the ring on my finger, Mom suddenly jumped up from her seat.
No, I can't stay quiet and just watch Adele. I have proof that this boy is no good. Look at this picture of him kissing this girl. Won't you believe me now? I warned you about him and his whole family.
Mom, just stop. That girl is Olivier's cousin, and I know her. You've proved nothing except that you're a crazy psycho who's been stalking my boyfriend. Everyone was staring at us, and the whole evening was ruined. When we got home, I turned to Dad. "She ruined one of the happiest days of my life, Dad. Thank God. I'm leaving for university tomorrow."
Not just you, darling. I'm leaving too. I've stayed with this mad woman just for you. But now you're all grown up and ready to go, and so am I. I need some peace in my life.
And with that, we both left home the next day, hoping to never see Mom again. A few months later, Dad told me he was getting married again, and I was really happy for him. After Olivier and I graduated from university, we decided to get married. I didn't want Mom to ruin my big day, so I didn't invite her. But to my shock, Dad didn't come either. He just sent me a huge wedding present with a note.
Sorry I couldn't make it, honey, but I can't leave my wife and newborn son alone right now. Love you, and hope you have an amazing day.
That was a big blow to my heart. He'd never ignored me before, and I was so angry at him. I called him, but he didn't even pick up. Olivier's dad soon signed me on for a movie, and the very first one was a success. I shot to fame fast and was soon traveling all over the world for shootings and premieres. I was away often, and over time, I felt Olivier was growing really distant from me. Like once I was in town on my birthday, and all he did was laze around on the couch as usual and watch football all day. Olivier, today's day is over. It was my birthday? And you didn't even wish me a happy birthday.
Oh, I forgot. Happy birthday, dear.
And then he just turned his face to the TV again. This kind of stuff happened all the time, and I felt invisible. And sometimes it made me think of how Dad must have made Mom feel, and how I'd never realized it before. To distract myself, I worked even harder. And within a year, I was nominated for a big award. But Olivier didn't even show up to the award ceremony. And when I got home, I found him having a huge party at our place.
Oh, I thought you were out of town. Babe, come meet my friends.
Out of town? I was at the award ceremony, and you weren't there.
That was today? And why did I need to be there, Adele? Did you need me to carry around that tiny award for you?
Do you even care about me? Or am I just a money-earning machine for you? You don't even have a job, and all you do is spend my hard-earned money.
Your hard-earned money? Anything you are today is because of my dad and my connections. And look at you now, acting all high and mighty with your award and your expensive dress, which, by the way, looks awful on you.
Everyone in the room looked at us. I was embarrassed like never before. Suddenly, the scene of Dad laughing at Mom and insulting her flashed before my eyes. And it was the worst feeling in the world. Really? You made me. Then why couldn't you make something of yourself, you useless potato? Saying that, I just pushed him aside and stormed off to my room. I could hardly sleep that night. I was so angry at Olivier and at Dad. The next morning, I woke up to a message on my phone. It was from my bank saying that all the money from my account had been withdrawn. What the heck? Olivier, you took all my money? Why did you even need such a big amount?
I had some debts to pay off. Partying can be expensive, man. You'd know if you ever had fun.
What? You're the biggest jerk ever. I wish I'd let Ashley have you. You deserved her.
Yeah, she was prettier, but whatever. Get lost now.
I grabbed him by the collar and punched him hard. Just then, the cops arrived at our door because I'd already called them and reported him for theft. He left shouting and screaming, and it was the best I'd felt in years. And then I left to see my mom. When I arrived at my old house, Mom was completely stunned to see me.
Oh my God, Adele, it's been so long. You're even more beautiful than I remember.
And suddenly, I just burst into tears and ran to hug her tight. She asked me what was wrong, and I told her everything. I'm so sorry, Mom, for never realizing how Dad made you feel, for not listening to you about Olivier. You warned me, but I grew up never trusting you to be happy for me.
It's not really your fault, Adele. All those years, I was angry at your dad, and I took it out on you by never showing you affection. It's taken me years to get over my resentment and realize I should never have ruined my relationship with you, or for someone who never loved me at all.
I'm here now, Mom. Do you think we can start over?
I've been waiting to hear those words for so long, my darling.
Hi, my name is Lucy. And before in a story, please like and subscribe. Do you know the feeling of having an annoying sister in your life who was just there to ruin everything for you? Well, mine is a psycho jealous sister. She used my condition against me, but I got rid of her eventually. You see, I was born to super rich parents who owned more than half the city, and after I was born, they just went crazy with happiness. On my first tooth party, my dad organized a water park party for all the kids, but when Mom brought me outside, I started yelling, and my skin turned super red like blood. Luckily, there was a doctor in the crowd, and he came running to help. I was diagnosed with extreme photosensitivity that would only increase as I aged. Basically, I could never step out in the sun without getting burned. After that, my parents always kept me indoors during the day, and all the windows were covered with black curtains. Once when I was 4, I cried and said, I want to go to school and have friends.
Oh, honey, you can't. But we'll bring them both to you.
We'll hire private teachers for you, and we'll get you a pet.
They got me a really cute hamster, and he was kind of my best friend. All was good until my little sister was born. Her name was Zoe, and she was pure evil. I discovered she was jealous of me once she turned 3. She knew about my condition, but she was still angry that my parents paid more attention to me. On her 3rd birthday, she got me a piece of candy with a candle on it and said,
"Now this candle will burn you."
"No, honey, I'm only allergic to the sun, not candles."
"Oh, so it won't hurt you? Well then, okay."
And with that, she threw the candle on my bed, and the blanket instantly caught fire. I started yelling for my parents, and I almost got hurt getting out of the room. Once when I was 8, Zoe threw a tantrum that she wanted to be homeschooled like me. But, of course, my parents refused. What made things worse was what happened on my 10th birthday, when my parents invited everyone to a super fancy restaurant at night. One sophisticated lady saw me and said to Mom,
"Oh, your daughter is very pretty. Like, too pretty. But the other 10, she's not pretty, like, at all."
Oh, yes, the youngest one is just ugly. I wonder if she'll ever get married.
Just then, Zoe stood up and flung juice straight at the women's faces. Then she turned to me.
"You just wait and watch, Lucy. I'm going to make you wish you were the ugliest girl on the planet. You'll be praying to God to make you ugly."
That night, I was sleeping when I heard a noise. I opened my eyes and saw Zoe holding a big poster with a drawing of her. Something like she was pranking someone.
"Do you see this eye? It's yours, babe. But one day it's going to be mine."
I stood up and pushed her away and locked the door behind her. She was a total psycho. Over the coming years, Zoe just wouldn't understand that I got special treatment because of my condition. I tried to reason with her, so I thought maybe throwing a party where we could both invite her friends would help us get closer. What a stupid decision that was. I was 13 back then and invited the only 2 friends I had, Mark and Emily, while Zoe invited half the school. Suddenly, during the party, Zoe stood in front of everyone holding up a drawing I'd made. It was the 3 of us, me, Mark, and Emily.
"Listen here, everyone. So our Princess Lucy can draw. But she also has a little secret. Let me read it for you. I'm so in love with Mark, but I also love Emily. I will soon ask them both out and kiss them both at the same time. I will kidnap Emily if she rejects me. We will be the happiest lovers triangle."
Everyone went silent, and Mark and Emily turned red. I couldn't believe my sister would lie like that. "No, you liar. I didn't write that. You just came up with it. Why are you so evil?"
"Why? Are you so perfect?"
"I'm not Zoe. I wish I was normal. Just like
you. Oh, like me. You wish I would never have a boyfriend and a girlfriend at the same time? That's just shameless. You do that to the only 2 people who like you? That's just dumb and gross."
Just stop it. Just then, Mike took Emily's hand and left. I was so shocked and embarrassed that I didn't even stop them. I just went to my room and locked the door, and the party continued like nothing had happened. After that day, I knew I had to teach Zoe a lesson, and I knew that the best way to tease her was to live my life to the fullest. The very next day, I invited Mark over. When he came to my room, I made sure to leave the door open so Zoe could hear everything. "Mark, I'm really sorry about last night. You know that my sister is—"
Listen, Lucy, I don't believe a word your psycho sister says, but I was just too embarrassed to say, so I left.
I put my finger on his mouth and pulled him closer to kiss him. "Will you be my boyfriend, Mark?" He said yes, and we hugged. Then I heard Zoe's room door close very hard in her face, which for the next 2 years, Zoe was always making it obvious how jealous she was of me for having a boyfriend. She even tried to break into my room several times. Once she used a knife to open it, but luckily I was ready. I attacked her with pepper spray and ran to my parents. Once, she brought home a boy who was 4 years older than her. Dad totally lost it and kicked him out. My parents were getting so tired of her craziness, but the last straw was when she called the police at midnight once. To my horror, she slipped her t-shirt off her shoulder to show scratches on her skin, and she pointed accusingly at Mark.
"That boy, he's dangerous. He attacked me. I barely managed to escape."
"What?" My parents told the cops that she was making it all up, and Mark would never do such a thing. Gosh, if you're so jealous, just get yourself a boyfriend. You ugly psycho bimbo! I expected her to say something harsh, but instead, she started crying and fell on her knees. She looked up pleadingly at the cops.
See how my family treats me? Just take me away from them. Please help me. Please save me."
What an actress! The next morning, my parents took Zoe to a psychologist. It turned out my sister had some issues and needed therapy every few days, but she didn't take that so well. After a few days, when I got back from my date with Mark, I found Zoe had prepared meat sandwiches for me. What did she want to poison me? I said no and went to my room. I wanted to feed my little hamster, but I didn't find him there. I started looking everywhere. Then it hit me. Oh my God! I ran back to her. Where is my hamster?
I don't know.
What did you do to my hamster?
I don't know.
Mom, Dad, Zoe ate my hamster. And then I passed out. When I woke up, my parents told me that they had talked to Zoe's doctor and she might be admitted to a psychiatric ward. I wasn't really happy to hear that, but I knew it was for everyone's safety. A month later, Zoe was gone and transferred to that hospital. Life was good, and I had the best time with Mark and Emily for years. It was the day of my graduation. I was so in love with Mark that I wanted to marry him right away, even though we were so young. He agreed, and my parents suggested he move in with us, so we did. During the day, Mark would leave for college, and I would stay home. One day, I called for the maids to get me something to eat, but no one responded. I went downstairs and found no one. Then I heard a familiar voice. I was sure it was the voice of my hamster, but it seemed to be coming from the backyard. I thought I'd just take a quick look, and it wouldn't hurt me, but I just popped my head out the door when suddenly someone pulled me out with all their force.
Hey, miss me, sister?
What are you doing here?
Oh well, they decided to let me go. I feel much better, actually. You really thought your hamster came back to life? Are you still that dumb? You spoiled Daddy's girl.
And then she pulled me out more, and I was under direct sunlight. It started to hurt my skin, and I screamed. Then I attacked her. One of the maids heard us and came running. When Zoe saw her, she let me go and ran away. Thankfully, I wasn't hurt, and my parents told me that Zoe had run away from the asylum, and they were looking for her now. I was sad about how things had turned out in my family, but my sadness was short-lived because I soon found out that I was pregnant. And 9 months later, I gave birth at home to my beautiful daughter, and I named her Sally. When Sally started to crawl, we all knew she was a really curious, naughty baby. Once she crawled out the kitchen door and out into the backyard, and she was completely quiet. I got scared and ran after her with the maids. When I got there, I saw another basket next to her and a freaking baby in it. It was a boy. The note next to him said, "This is Josh, your nephew. I gave birth to him months ago and wanted to raise him but discovered that was hard. So I sent him to you. Lucy, take care of him, I guess." I looked at the baby's face and tears rolled down my cheeks. I kissed his forehead. This Zoe was full of surprises. When I was about to shut the door and run to my parents, someone pushed it against me. It was Zoe.
Oh, you're crying?
And she pulled me into the backyard again. Thankfully, the maids were able to catch her and call the police. Zoe was sent to jail this time, and I got a restraining order. Me and my family were finally safe. And baby Josh? Yeah, he was hers, and he lived with us. I raised him like mine. And snap! Now I have 4 kids, and we are a happy family.
Hi everyone, my name is Harper and I'm from New York. Please like and subscribe. I was born to a super rich single mom who was a successful businesswoman. She was a very hardworking lady but loved me just as much.
Hey sweetie, what do you want for dinner tonight? After that, we can go buy your favorite doll.
But ma'am, the way to downtown is blocked off right now.
Then get the helicopter ready. Because there's no way I'm not making something special for my girl's 5th birthday. Grab anything you like.
Oh, Mommy, I love you. She was the best. But unlike her, I was kinda shy. The next morning, she even used a helicopter to take me to school on my first day. Thanks to that, I instantly became super popular. But things took a strange turn soon after. One time when the teacher asked me to recite a poem in front of the whole class, I was already super nervous. But just then, a kid pointed at me and screamed.
Look at her face! She looks like an eggplant about to burst!
And then all the kids started pointing and laughing. I quickly ran to the washroom to check what was going on, and when I looked in the mirror, I freaked out. Ah! My face was really purple! The teacher found out and immediately called my mom, saying I had some psychological issues, so she took me to the doctor.
I'm afraid your daughter might have a rare condition that causes her face to turn really purple whenever she's nervous or excited.
No, why? I felt really sad when the doctor said there was no permanent cure, and I'd have to get used to it. Mom tried to lift my spirits, but I wasn't feeling good about myself. When we got home, I ran to the garden because I wanted to be alone. But there I saw Levi, a maid's kid struggling to climb up a tree.
What are you doing here?
My ball got stuck on the tree and I can't get it back.
Give me a leg up and we can get it!
But as soon as I took the first step, my foot slipped and we both fell to the ground. Embarrassed, my face turned purple. Gosh, he's about to laugh at me.
Wow, you can change colors like a superhero. You're awesome.
Oh, really? And his words gave me so much confidence. After that day, Levi and I became really close. Since Mom was mostly busy, we spent all our time playing together. I realized Levi was super smart. He even helped me with my homework. And when Mom saw this, she enrolled him at my school too. But as we grew up, the kids at school always made fun of him for being a maid's son.
Oops, my juice spilled on the floor. We need to call your mom to clean it up, Levi.
You!
I heard people say your mom's the Minister of Cleanliness and Sanitation. I'm sure she can do the job better.
And you want to clean up for his mom, huh? Jerk rich brat. How dare you?
She looked like her head was on fire, but I didn't care. I won't let anyone talk like that to my best friend on my watch. But over time, my purple disease started to bother me more. Levi would tell me not to pay so much attention to it. But he was a boy. So every time I saw a guy who was a total babe, I'd try to imagine my grandpa in a weird costume.
Ew!
And that would calm my excitement. One day, I was walking with Levi in the garden when Mom called me in, and I found her standing next to a really cute guy around our age.
Harper, this is James, my bestie's son. He's new here. Maybe later you can show him around the city.
We started talking, and he seemed like a nice guy. Levi's mom walked over with a cake and tea on the tray, and suddenly she tripped on the carpet. The glasses and cake went flying straight at James's face, who jumped up from his seat.
You stupid maid! Are you blind? Gosh, look what you've done. This shirt is worth more than your whole year's salary.
Just then, Levi walked into the room angrily, but before he could say anything, his mom signaled him to stop. She immediately apologized to James, and Mom told her to go. As James went away to change, I wish I'd said something, but I didn't want to make the room even more tense. And later, I took him out reluctantly to show him around the city. As we were walking down a street after dinner, he suddenly took my hand.
Harper, I had a great time with you today. How about we end this beautiful night with a kiss?
No, thank you.
Ah, monster, your face is purple, weirdo.
My face was all purple because I was so mad, and I slapped his stupid face so hard. This was the worst evening of my life, you moron! Stay away from me! Later that night, when I reached home, Levi was nowhere to be seen, and I knew where I'd find him. The garden. Hey, what are you doing here by yourself?
Oh, you're back from your date with that jerk. I would have punched him if Mom hadn't stopped me. By the way, did you two kiss?
Yep, of course. I slapped him right across the face when he tried to do that.
What? Did he say something to you? Are you okay?
I'm fine. And I should have slapped him earlier when he talked to your mom like that. By the way, you look cute when you're jealous.
Jealous? Who said I was jealous?
I turned towards him and he gave me a big smile. And I couldn't help but kiss him. It was my first kiss and it felt amazing. A couple of days later, I went into Mom's room to ask her something, but I found her looking really worried. What's wrong, Mom?
Hi, so honey, one of the heirloom necklaces that I wear at this fundraising event every year is missing.
What? We should call the police immediately.
I've already informed the police and I'm having the guards look into it too, honey.
The necklace had been in our family for generations, and it was freaking expensive. Mom had the security team looking into the CCTV footage, and it turned out that Levi was the one who'd entered and left Mom's room late at night. No, it couldn't be. When the guards went and searched Levi's and Mom's room, they found the necklace in one of the drawers. Levi, you stole my mom's necklace?
Harper, are you calling me a thief? How could you even think that? I didn't steal anything.
Then how do you explain this necklace here? If you needed money, you could have just—
I can't believe you turned out to be like all those other rich brats who don't trust me just because I'm poor.
What? How could you?
That's enough. The evidence speaks for itself. Harper, honey, go back to your room.
I couldn't believe he had the nerve to talk to me like that. After what he did, I stormed back to my room. I didn't want to talk to him ever again. Only my wish came true. Mom told me that evening that Levi and his mom had confessed to their crime. Since Mom had the necklace back, she called off the police, but she fired them. They were gone. Of course, Mom had to do that, but I felt devastated. The next few days, I didn't feel like doing anything except staying in bed and watching Luna Avatar videos. Mom came in and tried her best to cheer me up.
Oh, sweetie, forget about those people. Do you want to go on vacation or go shopping?
No, Mom, I'm fine. Summer break was almost over, and I decided I wasn't spending any more time moping over that loser. I was really going to focus on my studies in the last year of high school. But as soon as I entered my class, I bumped into this new girl who shouted,
"Watch where you're going, moron!"
"Excuse me! Watch your mouth!" First, she scanned me from top to bottom and then pushed me. I was about to push her back when I heard a familiar voice from behind.
Stay away from her!
I turned around and saw Levi walk towards me. I was certain he'd left the school. "I don't need you to take my side, you thief." But he just walked past me and went up to that girl.
Are you okay, Josie?
What? The dancing ducks! He was worried about this new weirdo and not me.
Oh, Levi, she attacked me.
Shut up, she's a liar, she!
Just because you're super rich doesn't mean you can treat everyone like dirt.
What? You don't even know what happened here.
Just stay away from me and my friends.
As if I want to be close to you. And who's this friend? And what are you even doing here?
In case you forgot, I'm pretty smart and I applied for a scholarship, and I don't have to answer your questions.
He took Josie's hand and stormed off. Gosh, he really had a lot of attitude for a thief. I could feel my face turning crazy purple with anger, and I quickly ran off to the washroom to cool off. This whole year was just gonna be awful. I avoided them completely, but seeing that stupid Josie clinging to Levi all the time somehow made my blood boil. A few weeks later, our teacher announced a school trip to a fancy skiing resort, and everyone had to pay $800 for it. As the bell rang and everyone left, Levi walked up to the teacher.
Ma'am, I won't be able to go on the trip because it's my sister's wedding that weekend.
She nodded and he left. He didn't have a sister. I knew he lied because he didn't have the money to go. I caught up with the teacher as she walked out. "I have a favor to ask, ma'am. Would it be okay if I paid for Levi's trip? But you can't tell him. Please tell him that the school decided to take all the kids for free." She agreed to do that. And I was so happy when I saw her talking to Levi separately the next day, and his face lit up. On the day of the trip, we were all on the school bus when I heard Levi say to Josie,
"Isn't it really cool that the school made this trip free for everyone?"
Free? What are you talking about? I paid $800 for it.
Yeah, we all did. What do you mean, man?
Levi looked shocked, and then his eyes met mine. Oh God, he caught me.
No, I didn't mean that. I think some snacks on the trip are free.
And when we got to the resort, he immediately pulled me aside and turned to me angrily.
"Why did you pay for my trip? And don't even try to deny it. I know you did it."
Okay, yeah, I did. What's the big deal?
I don't want anyone's charity, especially from someone like you.
What's that supposed to mean? Someone like me? Why are you acting like you don't know me?
I don't know you. You're not who I thought you were.
Oh, yeah, you neither. I walked past him with angry tears. Why had I even bothered? A few days later, there was a dance in school for all the high school students, and my mood instantly turned sour. Seeing Josie pull Levi onto the dance floor and wrap her arms around him, I was so annoyed that I picked a random guy and pulled him to the dance floor too. Whoa! The entire time I could see Levi glaring at me every time I inched closer to that guy. Perfect! But this guy was starting to get a little too comfy. So I pushed him away and walked out. But he followed me outside.
Come on! What's the rush, baby girl? We're not done dancing yet.
Yes, we are. Can you please back off? But he didn't, so I kicked him hard in the knee. Just then, Levi came from behind and punched him.
How dare you try to touch her, you moron!
I pulled Levi away before he could hurt him anymore, and the guy ran for his life.
You had to pick the biggest sleazeball to dance with.
What's your problem? Go cling on to your girlfriend.
She's not my girlfriend. Harper, why can't you be more responsible?
Why do you care? You've been nothing but mean to me since I got here.
Because I'm mad at you. It doesn't mean I don't care. I just can't forgive you because you called me a thief.
Yeah, because you stole my mom's necklace. I saw you on the CCTV.
CCTV? What are you talking about?
I saw you leaving my mom's room the night before on the CCTV camera. And they found the necklace in your room.
What? I went there because your mom called me to discuss your birthday surprise. I have no idea how the necklace got into my room.
What? Mom called you? So why did you confess to the crime if you were innocent?
Confess? No, we didn't. Your mom threatened to throw us in jail if we didn't leave immediately, so we did.
What? Was he telling the truth? Why did Mom do that? I had to find out the truth. When I got home, I went straight to the most trusted maid we had and asked her what really happened. She reluctantly confirmed what Levi had already told me. He and his mom had never admitted they stole the necklace and Mom had simply made them leave. I went straight to Mom's room.
Oh, honey, you're home.
How about? Is it true that you called Levi into your room the night before the necklace went missing?
What? Who said that?
And they never admitted to stealing the necklace? But you said they did. I want to know the truth. Mom, please, no more lies. The look on her face suddenly changed as she fell back into her chair.
Yes, I did. I did. All of that to keep you away from Levi. That's why I introduced you to James. But even that didn't work. When I saw you kissing Levi, I had to do something drastic. I just didn't want you to suffer like I did.
Suffer like you? What are you talking about?
Your father was the son of my dad's driver, and I was so madly in love with him. But soon after I told your dad I was pregnant with you, he ran away with all the money and jewelry in the house. I didn't want you to end up like me. These poor people are all the same.
That's so unfair. Mom, I'm sorry about what you went through. But what you did to Levi and his mom was terrible. They're good people who didn't deserve any of it. I'm not going to forgive you for that.
Harper, please don't say that. I did it because I love you, honey.
Well, you don't make people suffer when you love them. Mom! I shut myself up in my room, refusing to open the door for Mom. And the next day at school, I spotted Levi on his way to class. And I ran to him and hugged him. Oh, Levi, I'm so sorry!
Harper, what happened?
I'm just so sorry. I should have trusted you. And then I broke down and told him everything. I thought he'd be so mad, but he just hugged me.
It's okay, Harper. It's not your fault. What your mom did was awful, but maybe I'll be able to forgive her one day, and you will too. Let's put it behind us, because I've really missed you.
I've missed you too, Levi.
Let me start making up for lost time.
Hi, my name is Luna, aka the Vampire Girl, and it's all because I had the meanest parents. But before I continue, please like and subscribe. I grew up in a normal family in a small town in the Netherlands. But as I got older, I realized that my parents were not just normal. They were actually weirdos. I had never seen them leave the house, like going out for work or buying supplies. What was most annoying was that they often whispered to each other about something extremely mysterious. You might wonder how we could survive. Well, a box of supplies would mysteriously arrive every week, and I had never seen the delivery man. Every day, Dad would spend hours reading the newspaper and circling stuff on it with a red marker. Once, when I was 3, I was trying to warn my dad that there was a spider about to crawl over his breakfast, but he kept ignoring me, so I leapt onto the table and put my foot in his bowl, spilling it all over his newspaper, and Dad went bonkers.
Oh my god, do you realize what you've done?
Spider, spider!
You're just Spider, idiot! Just leave me alone!
Mom, hug! Hug!
You, stay away from me! Didn't I buy you a bunch of stuffed animals? Go back to your room and hug them.
Gosh, I wished I could just leave them forever. They didn't even love me. We never had any visitors, but my grandma. But when I was 5, Grandma came to see us once and she brought me an adorable cat. I was so happy. A rare creature is about to live in my house. But of course my parents are just being themselves.
We already have Luna. It's hard enough to take care of her. No, just take it back, please, Mom.
No freaking way! I ran up to my room with the cat and slammed the door shut. But when I woke up in the morning, my cat had flown away, even though it didn't have wings. I looked all over the house. Nothing. I just knew my parents had gotten rid of it. I screamed and cried, but they said they didn't know anything. Liars! I made a bold decision to run outside and search for my kitten. This was the first time I was breaking my family's rules. But that didn't matter anymore, because I had decided I was never going back to this house. It was a really sunny day, and as I kept running, my skin suddenly started turning really red and itchy. Oh, my body's getting scorched by the sun! I let out one huge scream and fainted. When I woke up, I was lying on my bed. In the room were the doctor and my parents. The doctor said I had a rare condition and advised my parents to absolutely prevent me from any exposure to sunlight.
See? That's what happens when you don't take our advice.
No, that's not true. That can't be right. My parents might be weird, but doctors aren't. Besides, the sun almost killed me, and I never want to go through that horrible feeling again. So after that, I refused to let a single ray of sunlight touch my body, not even indoors. I covered myself from tip to toe, socks, trek pants, hoodie, and a face mask. Only my eyes were visible. The weirdest people like my parents almost fainted when they first saw me running around the house like a little ninja. From nightfall is when I felt safe to remove my costume. I never go outside during the day because I think the outfit isn't thick enough. I even insisted on being homeschooled. But when I turned 15, my parents decided to let me attend regular school. Are you serious? Do you want me to die? I'm allergic to the sun, you know.
I'm fed up with that ninja outfit. After all these years, your condition is probably completely healed by now.
I'd rather jump off a cliff than listen to you.
If you keep behaving this way, I swear I'll send you to your aunt's place in Norway. There's only sunlight there for 6 months.
Gosh, they were unbelievable. And they thought I didn't know about their plan. Fine, but don't think I won't wear this costume to school. I will! It's been years since you last walked in the sun. I can feel the heat slowly getting inside. And when people say you're weirdos for dressing me up like this, just know that you asked for it. I joined school in the 10th grade, and the minute I entered the classroom, everybody started laughing and whispering things like weirdo and freak. I chose the seat farthest from the window and kept my mask on all the time. In lunch break, I waited for everyone to leave the cafeteria before I went in, but suddenly a girl came up and slapped me on the shoulder. It was Jessie.
Luna, right? I'm just curious, why are you dressed like a garbage bag?
I'm ugly. I don't want everyone to laugh at me. She started laughing and just left. I knew that if I said I was allergic to the sun, I would definitely get into trouble. Soon enough, I discovered she was the meanest girl around and would pick on me every chance she got, throwing snakes into my backpack, hiding all the toilet paper when I used the restroom. Another day, I solved a math problem on the board, and as I was returning to my seat, I slipped on some water and fell on the floor.
That's where your place is anyway, weirdo!
I ignored Jessie's stupid pranks, but one day she went too far. I was standing in the shade enjoying a baseball game, when suddenly Jessie came out and snatched my mask. I lost my balance and fell off the bleachers. I quickly pulled my hoodie over my face. You're a crazy freak! I snapped at Jessie and bit down hard on her hand. Jessie let out a pained scream.
Ah, help! Let me go! You sun-phobic vampire!
And that's how I got my name, Vampire Girl. I could hear people calling me a monster, but I didn't care. At least the bullies were a little scared of me now. A few days later, a new kid joined our class named Luca. His outfit had a bit of a medieval vibe, which made Jessie and her minions laugh uncontrollably when they saw him. They'd found their new target. I joined him in the cafeteria at lunch that day and we started talking. I found out that he was the new janitor's son. He was really sweet and never even said I was crazy when I told him about my condition. I was so happy to have made a friend. But one day, as I was walking down the hallway, I found Jessie and her friends surrounding Luca. She threw the cake on the floor and arrogantly said,
Oops, you can clean this up, Luca. I mean, you'll grow up to be a janitor like your dad, right? Come on, just sit down and wipe it with your butt.
Hey jerk, stop it! Didn't you promise last time that you wouldn't bully him anymore? Looks like that bite was too gentle, huh? I'll make sure it's way worse this time if you don't get out of here immediately. Jessie rolled her eyes at me, but when I leapt forward, she actually screamed and went running. Luca thanked me, and I always made sure to stick close to him after that. But then, one day, Luca and I had just entered the classroom after recess when Jessie started screaming like crazy.
OMG, my brand new iPhone! It's gone! Someone stole it!
And then she pounced on Luca and grabbed him by his shirt.
You must have done it, you little janitor! You beggar, you thief! Where is it?
Hey, knock it off you! You have no proof!
I'll get the proof, girl!
She snatched his bag and started throwing out all his things. I grabbed her hair and she turned around and attacked me. We got into a huge fight and just then the principal walked in. Jessie screamed, insisting that Luca was the culprit and that he had hidden the loot inside his locker. Of course, the principal found nothing there. However, Luca was left humiliated in front of everyone. He seemed very upset, with his face down on the desk. I caught up with him after school. Hey Luca, are you okay? Jessie is such a witch. I hate rich people. They always look down on us like we're not even human.
Maybe she called me a thief just because I'm poor. Maybe we don't belong here.
Luca, wait! And he just walked away. He didn't come to school the next day and his dad was nowhere to be seen either. A week passed and there was still no sign of them. I felt worried, but I didn't know where he lived. But then I remembered Luca talking about how his dad also worked at a restaurant in the evening, so I decided to go talk to him. As I was walking down the street one night without my mask or hoodie, I saw a masked guy running towards me, and suddenly he started snatching my bag as I tried to get away. I lunged at his face and pulled his mask off, and I nearly fell back in shock. It was Luca. But before I could say anything, he ran away. I couldn't believe my eyes. What's going on? Luca really is a thief. Jessie was right. I felt betrayed. What I didn't expect was that Luca showed up at school 2 days later, but I just ignored him. But when he kept following me and asking me what was wrong, I suddenly lost it. I'll tell you, the girl you robbed the other night on the street, that was me. He looked horrified.
You, I didn't know. I've never seen your face.
Whether it's me or not doesn't matter. The real issue is that you're a liar and a thief. I really made a mistake trusting and fighting for you. Suddenly he started weeping like a baby.
I didn't want to steal. Luna, but I just had no choice. My dad's in the hospital. We needed the money. I'm so sorry, but I swear I didn't steal Jessie's phone. I've never stolen anything until that night.
He kept crying and my heart went out to him. I'm sorry about your dad. Why didn't you tell me and everyone? Let me help you now, but promise me you'll never steal anything again.
I don't want to bother you. I don't want everyone to see me as poor or suspect me of stealing.
Don't worry about that, Luca. People are better than you think. I immediately went to talk to the school principal. Together, we planned a fundraiser for Luca's dad. Within a day, we raised all the money Luca needed for his dad's treatments and even more. The biggest donors were Jessie's parents. They kept praising me at the fundraiser for arranging the event, and this made Jessie even angrier.
Don't let it get to your head, Luna. You're still a freak and you could never be me.
As if I want to be. What's so special about you anyway, other than being super dumb?
Excuse you. I've been prom queen for the last 2 years. You could never.
Oh, that's cool, but things changed once I got involved.
Haha, seriously, it's prom, not some freak Halloween show. You'll never beat me, stupid vampire.
Luca whispered into my ear.
Don't argue with the girl who hasn't even seen your face!
I bought a beautiful dress for prom since it's tonight. It was the first time anyone in school would be seeing me without my mask and hoodie. As soon as I entered the hall, I saw people turning around and asking each other who I was. Just then Luca came to me and took my arm.
Luna, you're so gorgeous today.
That's Luna, the vampire girl. I can't believe it was that face behind that mask all this time. She's gorgeous.
Jessie looked furious when she saw everyone's attention was on me, and to my shock, I was actually voted as that year's prom queen. As I was being crowned, suddenly Jessie came charging at me on the stage, trying to rip the crown off my head. But then something strange happened. The bullies who used to pick on me saved me. They all stopped Jessie and took her away.
Hey, don't lay a finger on her, old prom queen.
That was amazing. Things at school started getting better. Everyone was super nice to me now. Luca was tutoring kids after school and his dad came back to work. Soon nobody paid any attention to Jessie and her gang anymore, and all they could do was give me death glares. But one day after gym class, I was quickly changing in the dark locker room when suddenly Jessie and her minions barged in. One of them quickly grabbed my hoodie while the others grabbed me by my hands and legs and started carrying me outside. Stop! Don't do that! Let me go! The more I screamed, the tighter they held on to me. Soon after, they dragged me out into the sun and pinned me to the ground.
Heck, you lied to me. You're not ugly, so you must be a vampire. I hope you melt and disappear. Haha.
Suddenly, someone pushed the girls away. It was a teacher and Luca. While the teacher dragged the bullies off to the principal, Luca quickly took me inside as I cried like crazy.
You're okay now? And your skin, it looks totally fine. It's not even red. Luna, does it hurt or burn?
I looked all over my arms and realized he was right. There were no rashes and it didn't itch or burn at all. Was my condition gone for good? Or had it just been all in my head? When I went back home that day, my parents were shocked to see me.
Luna, where's your hoodie and your mask?
I threw them all away. Mom, Dad, I was out in the sun and nothing happened to me. Maybe I'm cured. Unexpectedly, my parents hugged me tightly, and what they said next was truly like a bolt from the blue.
Sweetheart, it was all just a lie. You don't have any problem at all.
But the doctor?
The doctor was fake, too. Actually, you were just having a normal reaction to sunlight because you rarely went outside. He said what we wanted him to say to protect you.
Protect? No way! I never believed you guys because you hated me and wanted to get rid of me. You even got rid of my cat.
No, we didn't, sweetheart. It just ran away. And we never hated you. When you were growing up, your mother and I were working as undercover government agents. Our actions and work might have made you feel ignored.
What?
Moreover, we didn't want the enemy to discover our identities. That's why we had you wear a mask and hoodie when going outside.
What? My parents were secret agents. That was the last thing I'd ever expected. But suddenly their weird behavior made sense. I wish you'd told me sooner. I could have kept everything a secret.
Just the two of us enduring was more than enough. We always wanted you to live comfortably and not have to worry. We're sorry, Luna.
We should have been better parents to you. We love you so much.
I love you too, guys.
Hello, I'm Isa from Austria. Before I share my story with you, please like and subscribe to my channel. I grew up in a large mansion with my parents, grandmother, aunt, and many servants. We were wealthy, and my life was almost perfect, especially because I had the most amazing mother ever, who spoiled me endlessly. Like when I was 6 years old and didn't want to do homework at school. It was against the rules, but somehow my mom convinced the teacher to allow it. And when I was 8, I wanted a big swimming pool indoors, so my mom built a pool in the backyard big enough to fit a whole family. I loved having my mom around. She was such a kind and sweet person, but she was a little strange. You see, my mom was fascinated by all things mystical and believed she could communicate with ghosts. No one in our family thought it was a big deal until one day, when I was 10, my mom and dad had a fight, and my dad walked out.
Who needs humans when you have a million ghosts to keep you company?
You're insane! Go hug your invisible friends! I'm out of here!
After my dad left, my mom became unhinged. She became obsessed with her hobby and spent hours locked in her room, talking to herself. But one night, she lit too many candles and caused a fire that burned down half of the mansion. My grandmother was furious and demanded that my mom leave. So, my mom and I moved to a smaller place. And although we had enough to live comfortably, it was nothing compared to the life we had before. That really affected me.
Look, I bought you a new doll.
This is a rag doll, Mom, and it's so scary. Take that away from me.
But sweetie, I made this for you.
Well, you wouldn't have to waste your time if you didn't burn down my old toys.
My mom looked at me sadly before leaving, and I felt bad. But I was still a child, and I really missed my old life. I thought that eventually my mom would give up her obsession and we would move to the US to live with my grandfather. But she only became stranger. One day, an odd old woman appeared at our doorstep, looking like a witch, and offered to read our fortune.
Wow, the universe must have sent you. Please come in.
Mom and the old woman sat down and started muttering something. Halfway through, she began communicating with the spirits. The table started shaking, and my mom looked astonished.
What do the spirits want?
Oh, they're upset. So, very upset. You burnt their old house down and now they're homeless.
They are invisible, right? They can stay in the White House and no one will know.
Child, you make fun of spirits. How dare you?
The strange woman stood up and started dancing wildly, and my mom joined in. It all looked ridiculous. I couldn't stand witnessing this crazy superstition, so I left. The next day, my grandmother came for an unexpected visit. My mom told her everything that had happened.
Now I just need to find a way to please the spirits. And
I can't believe you're still looking into these things. I wanted to give you another chance, but you haven't changed a bit.
My grandmother was furious and then left, and my mom cried all night.
Why can't you just let these spirits go? Mom, I really want to move in with Nana and Papa. I miss them.
No way. You saw what happened with the medium. I'm not putting them in danger again.
So you'd rather make us live like street rats? Come on, Mom. This is not real. That weird lady medium, whatever. She was tricking you.
I'm not discussing this, Isa.
I worked hard, researching documents and books and asking my teachers. I needed to pull my mom out of this mystical world and prove to her that there are no ghosts or demons.
While she spent time and money on psychics, seminars, and meditation retreats, I did research to debunk her beliefs. There is no scientific basis for crystal healing. The Bermuda Triangle has finally been explained. Most ghost activities can be traced back to change in temperature, electromagnetic interference, or... Mom, are you listening?
Oh no, it's the unholy hour. I can't talk now. Bye.
My words didn't get through to my mom at all. Things got worse when one day I invited a few friends over for a sleepover. Everything was going well until late at night when my mom walked into my room with candles and crystals.
It's a full moon tonight. Tell me, girls, when was the last time you got a cleanse?
She made my friends and me sit in a circle while she burned incense around us. I was so embarrassed. Of course, no one wanted to come to my house after that terrifying incident. And while I couldn't invite my friends over, psychics kept showing up at her door. Some of them even became my mom's friends and stayed with us for days. I had given up hope until one day, on my way home, I heard some kids talking about a challenge at a local haunted house. And that gave me the perfect idea. If I could expose this local ghost story, maybe my mom would finally believe me. I asked the kids if I could join them, and they agreed. That night, while my mom was sleeping, I sneaked into the haunted house with the rest of the group. But 5 minutes into exploring, I heard a blood-curdling scream from an upstairs room. I followed it, only to find one of the boys in a panic.
There's something here. It knocked that vase. It's a ghost.
That's not a ghost. It's a mouse.
I picked up the mouse, and its squeaking made the boy panic even more. He let out an even louder scream and ran downstairs. The rest of the group saw him and started running around like headless chickens. One by one, they all ran outside until I was the only one left. So I sat on a dusty old couch and took a nap. The next day, rumors spread around the school that I had stayed in the haunted house all night. I became famous overnight. Soon, others wanted to join me on my ghostly adventures, so we formed a club. By the time I was 15, my paranormal investigation club had become extremely popular. I had a lot of fun with it, solving all sorts of things, including a few alien and Yeti sightings. Life was pretty good, except my mom was still a hopeless case. One day, while my mom and I were out for a meal, we walked into our usual store. I was talking to the clerk when a girl about my age walked up to me.
Bonjour. Can I show you something? Those stress lines do not look good on a pretty face like yours. How about some incense for meditation? An amethyst pendant to relieve stress.
No, thanks.
Oh, Issa, that's a cute pendant.
No, Mom, it's not. It's hideous. Let's go home, Mom.
I rushed out of the store without waiting another second. Unexpectedly, the next day at school, I ran into the girl from the store again. She was surrounded by a group of girls and was selling them some strange little bottles.
What's that?
Oh, hello, sweet Issa. You smell divine. Imed, by the way.
And Issa for you. What did you give them?
Love potions. To tingle the romantic bones that are clearly missing from your body.
Shut up. You're scamming innocent girls. They'll have to report you to the principal.
No, why don't you see for yourself first? If they don't work, you know where to find me.
After speaking, Ed winked at me and walked away. What a weirdo. Anyway, I agreed to wait a few days to see if that stupid potion would work. And, to my surprise, all the girls who used it ended up with a date with their crush. I couldn't believe it. I had to talk to Ed and saw her in the cafeteria.
I was waiting for you, pretty Issa. Some salad.
No, thanks. I don't want that. Tell me about the love potions.
It's a trade secret, obviously.
Or maybe that potion gave them a bit of confidence, and everything else was pure luck.
You can't prove that, can you?
I was furious. Looking back, all those girls were quite beautiful, but just a bit shy. Of course it worked. A few days passed and I decided to stay away from Ed. Soon enough, it was time to go to college. One night, I was packing my things to leave for school when my mom walked into my room with the amethyst pendant from the other day.
What's this for?
It's pretty. It reminds me of your eyes.
This was kind of exciting. Expensive. Mom, are you sure you can afford this?
Of course I can. And while we're talking about money, I have something to talk about.
That's when Mom told me that she actually had nothing saved for my college and suggested that I should ask my grandmother for my college fund.
There's no way they'll listen to me, but I'm sure they'll help you.
So, all these years you didn't consider that I had to go to college? How could you be so selfish?
I gave you everything you need. And I know your grandma won't hesitate to give you more money, but do you think I have any chance of getting more funds for my research?
I can't believe you're still thinking about that. Mom, you're seriously crazy. I wish I could have just left with Dad.
Don't use that tone with me, Issa.
Actually, I'd rather not use any tone with you.
Shut up, and don't forget I'm your mom.
You're the one who forgot.
I rushed out of the house feeling upset and wandered around the neighborhood. I felt like someone was watching me. I turned around and saw Ed right behind me.
What are you doing?
Trying to make sure the girl I like is safe. What are you doing, roaming around the streets at this hour?
I was just... Wait, did you say that you like me?
Well, obviously the love potion doesn't work on you, and neither do my hints, so I'll say it directly. Yes, Issa, I like you. Now tell me what's wrong. You look stressed.
I finally told her everything about my life, including my recent conversation with my mom. Surprisingly, she turned out to be a good listener.
That's tough.
I don't understand why Mom is so focused on the supernatural instead of trying to mend things with her family. It could really make our life easier, you know?
Maybe, but in her head, it's all real. I'm sure she has her reasons. She actually told my mom a while back how she heard knocking and scratching in the walls. Threatening messages appeared overnight, and she saw a white figure in her room once. This happened for years.
Oh, please. It was probably just her imagination.
Whatever it was, she's your mom, and you're the only person she can fall back on.
Maybe Ed was right, but I couldn't forgive my mom that easily. Being an irresponsible mother is a terrible thing. The next morning, I took a bus back to the mansion. Everything had completely changed. As I walked toward the entrance, I was overwhelmed with memories of my childhood. Then suddenly, I saw Aunt Mallory, my mom's younger sister. She saw me, ran over, and hugged me. "You've grown so much, my pretty Isa."
So have you. I mean, you look amazing, Auntie. How have you been?
I'm good. But why are you wearing these weird clothes? Come in, let me set you up with a beautiful dress. Aunt Mallory led me inside, and I told her about my mom's spending problems and how my college education might be disrupted. That's terrible. I knew my sister was weird, but I would have never thought she was this irresponsible. Don't worry, child. She'll take care of everything. I was overjoyed and immediately started planning for school. Ed helped me a lot with figuring things out. The more time I spent with her, the more I liked her. It was a bit strange, but at least she was there for me, unlike my mom, who still refused to return to the mansion.
I'm happy you're having a good time there, but I don't think I'm welcome there.
You won't know if you don't give it a shot. Isn't family more important than your dumb psychic research? Why can't you just listen to me for once?
You have no idea what it means to be treated like a crazy person by everyone, including your own parents.
Stop playing the Vita, Mom. You did this to yourself.
I saw my mom cry. She was hurt. But I was so tired of her behavior. I was so happy to be back at the mansion, waking up to breakfast in bed, strolling through the lush garden, and feeling like a princess once again. My college was nearby, and I even had a private driver to take me there. Life was finally perfect, but I still missed my mom a lot, and she didn't want to see me. One day, I accidentally saw the amethyst pendant that my mom had bought for me. Suddenly, I felt my eyes sting with tears. I decided to ask Ed for help.
Why don't you do what you're best known for? Solving paranormal stuff. You solved all the cases around here except that of your mother.
But that was years ago. How am I supposed to investigate that now?
You live in the mansion. Try looking around old artifacts, cold spots. Maybe something will turn up to prove that she was right, and her family will finally see that she wasn't crazy.
Even I'm not fully convinced with that, Ed. How will I convince others?
Have faith, Pradisa.
Ed took me back home, and I got to work. That night, I waited for everyone to go to sleep and then quietly snuck out of my room. I spent hours searching the library and wandering around the hallways, but nothing seemed suspicious. As I was heading back to my room, I tripped over a rock and a hidden underground door opened.
Oh, what the freaking frogs? A hidden passage!
I turned on my flashlight and walked down the dark hallway that led straight to my mom's old room. And suddenly, everything started to make sense. This door opened from the other side of the hallway. So, someone could have been sneaking into my mom's room every night and making those strange noises, even disguising themselves as a ghost to scare her. But who would do that? I was still lost in thought when a flashlight suddenly blinded me, and what I saw left me stunned.
Auntie?
Iso, what are you doing here?
Oh my god, it was you, right? You knew about this secret passage. Were you the ghost that haunted my mother?
My aunt was grinning maliciously.
What can I say? Your mom was always too stupid to figure it out. You probably took after your father.
But why, Auntie? What did Mom ever do to you?
She took everything from me. She was always the favorite child because she was younger and prettier. I did everything to get our parents' attention, but they didn't have time for me. I could still let go of that. But then she married the guy I liked, and I knew I couldn't take it anymore and worked out a plan. All I had to do was to show everyone how crazy she was. And she was stupid.
She actually fell for it. You were in love with Dad. Please tell me you didn't have anything to do with their divorce.
I may have given him evidence of your mom cheating. And while she was busy moping around, I amped up the hauntings. But the fire and everything were all her.
You hated Mom, but you helped me. Why would you do that?
To take away the last thing she had, of course.
Wow, you're evil. Wait till I tell Grandma.
You can try, but you won't if you want the funds for your college to keep coming.
Oh, don't you worry. I've learned a trick or two of my own. After all, we are related by blood.
I recorded the conversation, and my aunt was stunned when she realized it. She tried to grab my phone, but I quickly ran out of the house. The next day, I asked my mom to come over and showed her and my dad the video. They were shocked and decided to kick my aunt out right then and there.
I'm so sorry, Mom, for never believing you.
I didn't give you a reason to trust me either, sweetie. So I guess it's a new start for us both.
My grandparents apologized to Mom. They asked Mom to move back in, but she just looked at me with sad eyes.
I wish you could have trusted me instead of thinking I was crazy. It will take a while to forgive you guys, but Issa, I leave it up to you.
It's okay, Mom. Let's go home.
She felt guilty and continued to support my college education. My mom and I still live in our small house, and we are closer than ever.